I returned from a 4-day work trip and was immediately met with the sound of jackhammers tearing into my front lawn. For a second, I honestly thought I'd pulled into the wrong house until I spotted my dog's old chew toy sitting under a shrub they were about to yank out. That's when I noticed it, a half-constructed shed on my property, complete with a sign that read, HOA Storage Members Only. So much for a quiet homecoming. Welcome to Prodigy Tales. Don't forget to like and subscribe for premium HOA chaos. I parked, stepped out, and calmly asked the construction foreman why his crew was destroying my yard. He shrugged and told me to take it up with the HOA. Fine. Challenge accepted. I headed straight to the HOA office, where Karen, the HOA president, sat behind the desk sipping from a smug little boss babe mug. She barely bothered to look at me before saying, "We're expanding storage for neighborhood tools. The board approved it." "Awesome," I replied. "Except you approved it on my property." She gave me a slow smirk. "It's a common area." "You're mistaken." I wasn't mistaken. That land was mine legally, undeniably mine. I had the plat map, the deed, and decades of records to back it up. I went home, pulled every document I had, highlighted the boundaries, and emailed the full package to the HOA with a clear demand to stop construction immediately. Silence. No reply. 2 days later, they poured concrete, erased my grass, bulldozed my bushes, and framed half the shed walls. That was the moment my patience officially expired. I printed a 3-foot wide sign that said, "Private property, no trespassing," mounted it on a wooden post, and drove it straight into the lawn facing their construction site. I took photos from every angle, time-stamped, geodaged, backed up twice. Then I called my real estate attorney. When the HOA had the nerve to mail me a letter accusing me of interfering with community development, my lawyer had already sent them a certified cease and desist. It included my deed, my survey, and photographic proof of every inch they were violating. They hadn't just crossed a line, they'd picked the wrong homeowner. My attorney didn't hold back. The cease and desist was ruthless: clear trespass, 0 permits, and a demand for complete removal of all structures within 10 business days. We sent it certified, return receipt requested. They signed for it and ignored it. Instead of backing off, the HOA doubled down. The very next day, I found a citation in my mailbox for non-compliant signage, referring to my private property sign. Then another citation showed up for unauthorized landscaping changes. Apparently, the massive hole they dug in my lawn counted as landscaping, and I wasn't allowed to alter it. I attended the next HOA board meeting to shut this down. The second I walked in, Karen flashed that same smug grin. "Oh, it's Mr. Survey Lines. Here to make a scene?" she said. I stayed calm and handed printed survey maps, boundary documents, and time-stamped photos to every board member. "Your shed is 10 feet onto my private property," I said. "You've been notified. You've been warned. You've chosen to ignore it." Karen rolled her eyes. "It's for the good of the community. You should feel honored. Your yard's being put to better use." That's when the room split. One neighbor actually clapped. Another muttered, "That's not how any of this works." The treasurer suddenly looked like he wanted to disappear. After that meeting, my lawyer filed for a temporary injunction and added retaliation to the case: fake violations, bogus fines, textbook harassment. To lock things down even further, I hired a licensed surveyor to mark the property lines with stakes and bright orange ribbon. But the real twist came when a county building inspector showed up unannounced. The HOA had never pulled a permit for the shed. Not a single one. He took photos, scribbled notes, and looked at me before saying, "This is a serious violation. They're going to have a lot to answer for." Offered him a cup of coffee. He smiled and said, "You might want to keep every piece of paperwork close. This one's about to get interesting." I told him not to worry, I was locked and loaded. And I was just warming up. The court was quiet that morning, almost eerily so. But my case file definitely wasn't. We walked in carrying everything: certified mail receipts, high-resolution photos, timestamps, the county inspector's violation notice, and 2 separate boundary surveys complete with GPS coordinates. My attorney stayed cool and collected. The HOA, on the other hand, had absolutely no idea what was about to hit them. Karen entered the courtroom wearing sunglasses like she was dodging paparazzi, followed by their attorney, who looked like a man questioning every decision that led him to that chair. The judge didn't waste a second. "Let's establish the facts," he said. "Who owns the land?" We submitted the deed and the plat map. Then the surveyor took the stand and pointed out the boundary stakes, still clearly visible on my lawn. "The structure crosses the property line by 10 feet, he testified. "There is no easement, no shared access, and no uncertainty whatsoever." The HOA's lawyer tried to argue it was a misclassified common area and claimed the board assumed ownership based on historical use. The judge looked up slowly. "Did you obtain a building permit?" "No, Your Honor," the lawyer admitted. "Did you verify ownership before construction began?" The board believed. "I didn't ask what they believed," the judge interrupted. "I asked what they verified." The courtroom went silent. Then the gavel came down hard. The HOA is found to have trespassed on private property. The failure to obtain permits, the retaliatory enforcement actions, and the continued occupation after formal notice demonstrate willful negligence. Karen's jaw dropped. "Effective immediately," the judge continued. "The HOA is ordered to demolish the structure, restore the property to its original condition, and compensate the plaintiff for all damages, court costs, and legal fees." "How much?" Karen whispered to her attorney. He didn't answer her. After the ruling, the floodgates opened. Neighbors started texting me, 3 of them, right away, saying the HOA had pulled similar stunts before. Unauthorized mailbox repainting, tree trimming without consent, even rerouting sprinkler systems with zero notice. Turns out, I wasn't the first one they pushed around. I was just the first one who pushed back. Karen didn't say a word to me. She stormed out of the courtroom like a grounded teenager, her authority completely shattered in public view. I left that courthouse with more than a favorable judgment. I left with the full weight of the law on my side, and the HOA backed into a corner. The shed came down quietly. No ribbon cutting, no cheerful newsletter update, just a small crew at dawn, dismantling their mistake as discreetly as possible. I watched from my porch, coffee in hand, while Karen stood across the street pretending not to notice. The property was restored, fresh sod, repaired beds, but I made sure they didn't plant a single thing without my approval. And they didn't. My attorney made certain every cent of the $94,000 settlement was paid. Damages, legal fees, restoration costs, and a generous check for my wasted time. Karen resigned the very next week. Her email was short and dripping with passive aggression. "Due to increased personal obligations, I will no longer be able to serve this wonderful community." The new board president? A retired judge, the same one who clapped when the demolition started. All the fake violations against me vanished overnight. My unauthorized signage magically disappeared from the record. Neighbors who'd quietly thanked me at court started showing up. One brought a pie. Another asked if I'd help them challenge some suspicious dues hikes. Funny how fast things change when people realize homeowners actually have rights. I installed motion-activated cameras, reset new survey stakes, and now every inch of my property is documented and protected. I even commissioned a small engraved plaque. "This land is legally and forever mine." A week later, 2 former board members sent a gift basket. I tossed the fruit, but kept the wine. Karen still lives here, but she doesn't look at me anymore. She walks her dog fast, head down, sunglasses on, no speeches, no power plays, no smug lectures about community needs, just quiet, awkward laps, and the reality that she got legally and publicly wrecked. As for me, I sit on my completely unbothered porch, enjoying a yard no one dares step onto anymore. All it took was knowing the boundary lines, applying some legal pressure, and standing my ground. Let that shed be a lesson. The end. And if you enjoyed this HOA showdown, like and subscribe for more. Do you think Karen got what she deserved? Drop a comment below.